going in reverse. Say, say them words, boy. Say, I'm telling you, give it up to the singers. Don't worry, my CD is coming out. Randy Watson. What's up, family? What's going down, man? Yes, let's get it in. This is a powerful build. Look, the whole month of May, we're doing a great mothers energy build for all the mothers out there, and just not even just the mothers, just the divine feminine energy period. So
Yeah.
there's mothers in training. There's
Mm.
you know uh mothers that, people that's curious about being mothers and all of that, right? So we just want to
Mm.
tap in to that idea. There's mothers that, wasn't never able to conceive, but hey, we still want to get pay their homage because they're showing uh, uh, a kind of energy or a mothering energy, whether they know it or not. So it's a powerful time, and we really want to make amends and make this understanding complete that this is the divine feminine energy coming back. Chaos, family, yes. So yeah, let's get it in. And shout out to Miss Blue, man. Listen, I've been listening to Miss Blue forever and ever and ever. Oh boy, it's been so long. And she's helped me on my spiritual journey personally, just on understanding uh how she asks questions or how she sees things, right? And I can see her as an example, even though I've never physically seen her for a while. I could see her as a powerful example and put her example of what spirit is into my own work. Because I tell you, Miss Blue is one of the most down to earth persons I know. And she's going to keep it real with you and straight up. And then she's going to put some spirit in there, which is what we need. You feel me? So shout out to Miss Blue, man, for all her amazing work for these past years and years and years. I can't say enough about the wisdom and the power that I've gained in my life from Miss Blue, and just a special, special, great mother. Man, real.
Yeah, definitely, Miss Blue. We just want to tell you, like Dream said, we've listened for many, many years. And I love how your tagline is really helping people to discover their magic because you are such a magical person, Miss Blue. And we definitely want to get into how you are actually able to embody your own personal magic and then give that out so beautifully.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
mean, you are like the epitome of magic. So let me ask you this, Miss Blue.
Yes.
When was your first time realizing that you had some magic?
Wow. That's a great question. Let me first say thank you to both of you again. A big part of my path, a big part of me even being here was because of my teachers and those people, individuals I've met along the way. And definitely, big shout out goes to Brother Bobby Hemmett.
Mm.
I heard you play that clip at the beginning. And so I send Brother Bobby Hemmett so much love. I send the
Mm.
sisters who, when I fell into consciousness, who first introduced me. And that's how it really just opened up a doorway for me.
Mm.
Starting at that point, I send all of them so much love as well. Like I'd be
Mm.
here all day if I list the names.
Mm.
So I just want to, make sure because my heart is always so grateful for everyone who's come into my life and I've come into theirs because ultimately, we're all just having that medicine effect and it's just happening live, in this dimension. So, to answer your question, D Ray, when did I first know about magic? I would have to say, ever since I've been a little child. I didn't understand it maybe as the magic I know it to be now. It more was kind of like a Disney story for me when I was a child, that kind of magic. And often, like many of us, I really believe that everyone could see the world the way I did. It wasn't until I started getting about 5 or 6 years old and I started really verbalizing more things to my parents and to relatives and other people around me that I realized that everyone was not seeing what I was seeing. And I think at that point, I didn't really question it. I didn't question whether something was wrong with me or something was wrong with them. It just was sort of this big sort of energy, if I can put it into words, that I just knew that sometimes these things would happen. And so one of the places I often looked was in cartoons, in the children's stories, in the Disney, movies, and I would see sort of glimpses of the things that would be happening to me at that time, you know, and I just remember growing up as a child, remembering certain books that just kind of gripped my heart, A Wrinkle in Time. Like I was so fascinated with that whole story, because it talks about all of these things of magic and, moving through, anything to deal with Disney World, because this was about awakening the magic, just seeing the sparkles and seeing the things that could happen and watching the cartoons, watching all of the children cartoons growing up. And also, believe it or not, listening to music. My father was a big music connoisseur and he listened to music from all genres, all throughout the world. But I remember how the music made me feel. I remember that smile on my mother and my father's face. I remember the energy in the house, right before they were getting ready to invite some friends over, or they were going to play cards, or, they were going to play dominoes, or play some backgammon. I remember that feeling. I remember the feeling before the holidays, the food that was cooking. All of these things to me still are to this day magic. And that's when I really just recognized that there was a difference, as opposed to when something happened in the family and everyone got together. And that sort of brought a different kind of magic. And those were some of the places as a child that I would sort of escape to. And I recognized that I could. Remember Escape to Witch Mountain? You know, the Disney movie. So that was big because I would think, how can I escape if there were some troubling times? Many of you may or may not know, but I've been kidnapped twice in my life. And that sort of brought some magic out in me in a different kind of way. So, to answer the question, these were things like many of us, Peter Pan, that movie Tinkerbell, connecting with that energy. I remember when my grandmother came to me, sort of in the realm of like a fairy, and asked me to come with her because she wanted to show me something. And this was my mother's mother who passed away when my mother was around 12 or 13 years old. My mother is like the youngest of like 16, 18 children. Like it was so many of them. Unreal. And she was a baby. So her mother passed away when she was young, and so did her father. So it wasn't someone that I got a chance to meet in the physical, but spiritually, my grandmother would come to me all the time. And I remember the first time I told my mother, she came in my room and said, "Why is your window open?" And I said, "Oh, because grandma came and she wanted to show me something and I was about to go." I went with her and I had to leave the window open so I could come back. And my mother at that time was so scared, and she kept telling me, never, never, if someone you cannot see in the physical tells you to go somewhere with them, do not go. Only at that time, I was about 4 or 5 years old. I didn't know the difference between someone being in the physical and someone being in the spiritual. So I didn't know, I didn't even understand that concept, like how to tell. It wasn't until I started getting older that I would know, that I could see things or talk to people or things would happen, that other people could not see them and talk to them too. So I I just wanted to tap into that
Yeah.
and just kind of express that about magic. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
real
That's
good.
beautiful, Miss Blue. This happened the other day in our household because I also want to know. I'm pretty sure you're going to head in this direction too, babe. Just because you brought up your mother in that time, Miss Blue, and mothers are so important in like all aspects of our lives.
Mhm.
Hence, why we are celebrating you today and all the mothers in this spiritual work in the month of May. But a couple of days ago, Miss Blue, we have a camera in our children's room, and my son says, "There's a monster in here." He yells, "There's a monster in their room."
Yeah.
Me being the mother, I jump up with a Palo Santo stick and a lighter, and I run. I come in the room because I don't want to take these things lightly when he says that. You know what I mean? Whether
Right.
he's making it up or not, because we know that that children can see into the unseen realm.
Absolutely.
And so I run in there and I sage all the corners and I say some affirmations like, if there's any low vibrational energy, I command you to leave now. And I really told my kids in that moment, I said, you can call on your family members, you can call on your protection. And they're only 5 and 3.
Oh,
But
I
I
love
was
that.
telling them, I was making them repeat after me, I am safe, I am secure, I am strong. I call on my ancestors for protection. And it's real. It's real at that age. And as a mother, especially you, since you have been through your spiritual process, how did you prep and communicate with your kids when they possibly started to engage and see spirits and things like that, as young children often do?
Well, that's a great question, because here's the interesting thing for me in my journey, and I know I've talked to other people over the years, the same thing happened. You know, you grow up, you start looking outside of yourself. At
Mm.
least I did. You start looking outside of yourself and you start to not trust you
Mm,
totally. Totally. Like, you get to the place where you become focused on what other people want for you, what your family wants for you, what other people say they see in you, or what other people believe you can be or aspire yourself to be. So, for much of my life, it's always been magical, and it's kind of been my program running in the background. That's why all programming running is not negative program, because many of our activations that many of us have had of this sort of remembrance or coming back into our consciousness is thoroughly built on, thoroughly, totally, and thoroughly built on what has happened in the past, that we are remembering, whether it's this lifetime or past lifetimes. So, when my children were young, I was totally, I won't say 100%, right? Because this was running in the background, not focused on anything spiritual. As I begin to grow up and really start recognizing, it wasn't so much the force of my parents, sort of, because I really didn't grow up in America. I grew up all over the world. So I got introduced to so many different spiritual systems, so many different, ways of life, and so many people from so many different cultures who didn't look like me, didn't act like me, that didn't think like me, and then vice versa. So many people who look like me, but they didn't talk like me. They didn't have the same kind of understanding as my family. So for me, at that point, when I had children, I didn't really have the understanding. And they sort of retrained or helped me to remember. My children were born spiritual, both of them. And my son actually was the one who really sort of reintroduced me to me. because that's what we're doing. We're remembering, we're coming back into that energy. So honestly, I allowed them to be who they are. And that's the way we raised our children, to be themselves, to embody that. And I was so scary, D-Ray, at this point in my life. And even growing up in my teenage years, my brother used to scare me when I was like in elementary school all the way up until almost high school, every day in the same spot, every day. And my mother pulled me to the side one day and she said, "Why do you scream every day when your brother does that? You don't know who's behind the door?"
Mm.
But what they didn't understand is I was seeing, feeling, so much was happening that I didn't want nothing to do with any kind of surprises, because they were coming back to back to back to back to back, you know, throughout my whole life. So when I got older, went to school, went to college, this whole thing, get married, have your kids, I didn't want anything to do with that. That was like a world I stepped away from. So when my son would tell me stuff, he was like, "You know what?" And I said, "What?" He said, "We were together in another life." He was about 3 or 4 years old. And I would say, "Look, don't say things like that. That's not real." I said, "Did you watch that on TV? Did you do this?" And he would say, "No." He was like, "No, I didn't see that on TV." You know, and he would see commercials come on TV and he would start laughing. And I
Mm.
said, "Why are you laughing?" He said, "Because they don't know what they're talking about." And he would just go into this whole thing. So he was born conscious, you know? He was born conscious. So he didn't really have that. Like he would do things like say, I said, "What are you doing?" "My superhero fights the monsters that come out at night." He would say those things. So a lot of what I learned that I now pass on about working with my children in that capacity when it comes to quote unquote the spiritual realm and understanding themselves full body, I learned from my children, you know, of what they taught me, you know.
Yeah.
And so these things that I was afraid of. I used to really be afraid of the dark because I could still see in the dark. Like
Me and you both, Miss Blue. Me and you both. You're not alone.
I used to be so afraid of the dark, and I would have these, now I know, as past life dreams, so I never really wanted my children, because I didn't have a full understanding especially when my son was little, my daughter more, but when my son was little, I especially did not want anyone to have to go through that, in that way, because I didn't really know any other way at that time. The only other option, and I say this with all due respect, was to go through Christianity. And for some reason, because I wasn't early indoctrinated into that system, I could understand the components of it. I can understand the philosophy behind it. I can even understood the energy behind it. But whenever I would try to like say, "Let me go to church, let me sit down," I just wouldn't fit in, and people would be staring at me, and it was just this weird energy that I got from it, until I would meet beautiful spiritual people from so many different backgrounds, that were Christian, that was Muslim, that was Buddhist, that was this, and we would have beautiful conversations. And I would say in the physical, that's how I got that understanding, to be able to get it without it being tainted, by a person's perception. I got more of the pure essence of what Christianity is, right? I got more of the pure essence of understanding about the Buddhist tradition and about the African spiritual systems. I got those from people that I met on my journey. And those are the concepts that I infused in my children, bits and pieces that I could fathom, because I remember waking up one night. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, but we were living in New York. And I remember I used to have bunk beds in my room, and I remember one night it was just this horrible, horrible vision, but it was a past life occurrence. And in this past life, I was, being attacked. It was all kinds of things that was going on. And it was just really wild. But anyway, long story short, I woke up and I had these claw marks on my back. And I remember screaming at the top of my lungs. My father wasn't home at the time, he was working. And my mother came running in my room and she turned, I kept screaming, my back, my back. And she turned me over. And I literally had these claw marks on my back. And she was like, what happened? I remember her looking around in the room, looking at my brother, in his room. She went in there and he was knocked out. Like, she knew it wasn't him. It wasn't no one in the house. And, my mom was asking me what was happening. And I was telling her from a dream. And she just looked at me and she said, no, that can't happen from a dream, honey. That doesn't happen from a dream. And, so I was like, oh, no, it can't. Well, things are happening. So my children really taught me, and this is something, D-Ray, that I passed on to my children, for you and Dreamwise, I passed on to them, is my role is really there to guide them, to allow them to be safe, to give them values, and to give them a foundation, and to really show them how to discipline themselves, to discipline themselves, how to discipline themselves. That was my main focus, our main focus in raising our children, was to give them the ability to be able to embody these things for themselves and to be very expressive, to be very, very expressive, to be able to feel comfortable, to communicate, to say what was on their minds, to say what was on their hearts, no matter what it was. And we could sit down and we could talk about it. If they were feeling something, if something happened at school or at a family's friend's house, if anything, but really creating that environment that they could thrive in, you know? And they're the ones that really taught me what to do when children are having the monsters are coming. Like they got to build them a superhero and call their superhero. And, these are things that they would say to me. Or my daughter would draw a picture and she says, you just take the picture and you hold it up at night and they will jump inside the portal, and they will go away. And you can ball the paper up and throw it in the trash and that makes them go away. So I learned these things from them, and I'm truly, truly, very proud of the amazing, young people, young adults and adults they have become. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good,
Mm.
Miss Blue. That's powerful. That's it. Because I had this thing where I was saying your children birthed you.
Mm.
So
Wow,
basically,
that's
like your children coming, into this world because they're here to actually teach you. Y'all made an agreement so we can be able to,
yes.
do this dance, if you will, and we can get back out of this. Because we did come down here for a reason and a purpose, and even in our ignorant state, we are finding some kind of light or bliss that says, "Oh, okay, I had to go through this path, right?" Because there's not no negative or positive or whatever, right? There's just a path that we're going through. And like, for instance, I see my son, and man, he teaches me
Oh,
every day to be in the now, every day to just be pure heart and just, fall straight in love with the moment. So I
mhm.
see him and, we're afraid because, no, don't do that. Don't jump off of that. But
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a powerful thing, man. And yeah, Miss Blue, man, we've been baby Blue, man. She been baby Blue since forever, man. Every time I every time I hear baby Blue, I be like, all right, how old is baby Blue now? Yeah. How old baby Blue, Miss Blue?
Believe it or not, she is 25.
Oh wow,
Mm.
okay, okay. Because I know I've been hearing that recording. I've been like, Baby, is she still 7? Oh my
No, no,
God.
no, she's 25 years old and very magical and still, very creative and graduated from college and is still, continuing her journey and her path. Yeah. I keep teasing her, telling her, you need to update that la 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 la, the remix.
Yeah,
You need
yeah,
to
yeah.
update that.
No, but it's beautiful and it's a powerful staple in Planet Remix, and we need
So
it. We need
beautiful.
that forever. That has to go on. And even me, I'm gonna show you something, Miss Blue, because your archive. I mean, you probably have the best archive
Oh.
ever I ever seen. Shout out to Brother Rich too. You and Brother Rich might
Mm.
have an archive that's just full of classics and full of
Yeah.
Oh,
spiritual people that, man, the information is endless. Like it's just amazing, right? And shout out to Sonetta and Serious Times and everything. But
yeah.
man, these builds you used to have, there was a few times I used to listen back to the replay, and I'm hearing Bobby, and he's telling these long, drawn out stories, and I'm like, man, this boy Bobby is gone. He's in a whole nother zone right now with Miss Blue, and I know you're just thinking, all right, come on, get to the point. I remember one of them shows. I think he went back to the church to release the three little girls or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Man, and he was just in a whole nother planet telling that story.
Great
Oh,
story
yeah.
though. He had us all
He
invested.
had us,
Oh,
man,
yeah.
talking about
Well,
those 2 hours.
the thing about it, is with Brother Bobby, I would always be on edge. I loved his stories. Like I
Mm,
Yeah.
truly, truly loved, his stories, and I loved, and let me preference that I loved him sharing the great work because that's what it
mm,
was.
yeah.
It was the great work, and still is the great work, and he was talking about the stories of the young sisters who were killed in Alabama. And
Hmm.
I remember when he was going down there, he had called me and told me, about the things that, he was getting ready to do, and it opened so many doors for me. Yeah, it did. I will say that. I just kind of wanted to add that it is the great work, that were there. Yeah, Brother Bobby, I love
Now let
him.
me
Yeah.
share this. Look at this. Look at this. You had Anthony T. Broder, and if y'all don't
That's
know,
Yeah.
right. Oh,
this
yes.
this is 12 years ago.
He
Yeah,
taking you down memory lane, Miss
I
Blue.
see. I see.
I'm talking about epic people.
Wow.
I
Yes.
just seen wait, hold on. I just seen what was his name? The Nityamna. Oh
Oh, yes.
Nityama. Oh my
Nityama.
God.
Yes. The
yeah.
famous shaman Nityama.
Yeah,
We
Yeah.
that
learned so much from him, Miss Blue. We was working up some magic with
Oh,
that. That and I mean, he is a part of how we got here right now.
Rising in
yeah.
Power, Dr. Blair.
Oh, yes, love Dr. Delbert Blair. I
Mm,
absolutely. And of course, Brother Bobby, Phil Valentine's and Nailani.
Yeah,
Yes.
mm,
Hmm.
that's amazing. So I'm talking about
wow.
people can listen. These are classics. Wayne Chandler,
Oh, yeah. Love
that's
Brother Wayne, Siva Yasir Hotep,
Mm,
Dr. I can't even say his Mutwazi. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
That's
and
so
even Mel
beautiful.
Bay. And this is all. This is just 12 years.
Yes.
I didn't even go back. I said, let me stop right here because look at this. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I worked with some of the people who work with Dr. Malachi Z. York. If you
Hmm.
go up one, go up, go up, go up, stop
Go
right
ahead.
there. The Immortals, Ben Abba. Uh,
Mm,
Very interesting when he were talking about people he had met all
mm,
throughout the world that was more than 300 years old.
Mhm.
And he had interviewed them and also, had a really, really good connection with him at that time. That was 11 years ago. My goodness,
wow.
about, all of these things about remote viewing, because it was through him that I really understood that I could do remote viewing
Mhm.
from a lot of those things. Yep. Hmm.
Yeah, this is beautiful. I'm talking about an archive
And
full
then
of.
Ra Unefa Amin,
Yeah,
who
I
doesn't
seen
even
that.
go by that name. It's Shechem Shechem, yeah. That did
Yeah.
the Aset Asar Society.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dr. Nelson Harris, amazing. Yeah, he's a clinical psychiatrist, works in clinical psychology, excuse me, but he's also a teacher, but he was um, orchestra, and he
Mm-hmm.
talked about the metaphysics of music, of just that,
Mm-hmm.
because music is my first love. That's the soulful oracle part of me right there, just about those vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's
Wow, yeah, it's a
it's endless.
Dr.
Wow.
Joy
It's looking good.
DeGruy. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And Dr. Frances Cresswell sings Ashe to her.
Okay.
She
Ashe.
brought so much life and understanding,
Mm.
especially when it comes to our children, understanding our world, understanding how this thing we call color shows up. You know, she wrote the
Mm-hmm.
ISIS papers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, so powerful. But if you go up, Dr. Joy DeGruy
Mm-hmm.
was talking about all of these things that are happening now. And
Wow.
she was going around the country speaking to police forces about everything that is, it's always been on the rise, right? But it was an undercurrent. It wasn't really in the media. But she has been an advocate for really working. Like, of course, her work is monumental in itself, but and she talked about us suffering from post-slavery, disorder. But Dr. Joy DeGruy was on it. She was going to police forces, really speaking to them about the way that they were treating Black and Brown people from the African diaspora, in America, and this
Mm-hmm.
police brutality. Like, she really paved the way for all of that work. Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
she paved
good.
the way. Look, that was 11 years
11.
ago.
Telling you, man.
So listen, with that being 11 years ago, and I'm sure we can go a little bit further
Oh,
even,
Man, we can
Miss
go.
Blue, how have you maintained the stamina? And it seems like right now in this space and time, you're giving even more because, with Planet Remix and even on Clubhouse, you're literally getting on the phone with people and you're talking to so many people and you're giving them so much power and so much information and so much love and energy, and you've been doing this for so long. How have you maintained that stamina? Like, what does your spiritual practice look like that
Mm.
allows you to be able to be so strong and so persistent in this work?
Wow. Yeah. So, number one, I would say that it's because I'm totally at this point have come into the understanding that I have accepted my assignment.
Come on, Miss.
And as I realized when that clicked for me that this was an assignment and I accepted it, then I no longer am using my energy.
Mm.
And so I preference that by saying it's my energy and there's a responsibility to what I must maintain. But really, the energy, the information is endless. This is something I learned from Brother Bobby Hemmett. It's our birthright.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? It's your birthright. Well, it is your birthright, but you have to acknowledge what that is and
Mm.
then be open to allow yourself to go where your spirit is taking you, where your heart is taking you, where you feel you need to be. So, my energy level, I don't equate that to something I'm doing, but this energy is flowing in. It's flowing in me and it's flowing through me because of that assignment. So, I'll give an analogy. It's kind of like when you understand about energy healing, which I'm all about the feelings and emotions and energy. It's about understanding about Reiki energy, or what we call Reiki energy, or what we call, I'll get the word in a minute. It escapes me at the moment. But this Reiki energy, this chi, this prana, this life force energy, and as this energy is flowing through us, right? That's one portal. So you get to use that. And then you have another portal that's inside of you that is dedicated specifically to what your assignment is that you have accepted when coming to the planet. So it works like the Kundalini energy, the caduceus. You know how you see the two snakes?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone talks about, oh, my Kundalini is rising, it's rising, it's rising. Yeah, it's rising. But which one? Which one? Is it the one with just prana and just energy? Is it just that one? It's waking you up, but you have to do the work. That's why there's two snakes. You got to get them both to rise.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get them both to rise. And that comes through anything. You don't even have to be conscious, quote unquote, or aware for that to work. Now, there will be a point when you start to rise that your awareness will enlighten you to so many different things. But that's going to be specific to your work and your path, you know? So for me, when I realized I had accepted the assignment from the divine, the energy became endless, but it still doesn't escape you from the work. In fact, for me, I recognize you got to do more work. So the more that you open your consciousness, and I'm a big advocate on this, and sometimes I catch a lot of shit. People don't want to hear, oh, no, no, no. We want to live in the upper echelon of just the upper chakras. We just want to talk about astral traveling and going to other worlds and other dimensions and, all of this. We don't want to do the work here on the planet that you came back here to do, but you have to ground yourself in your physical body. For so long, our whole planet has been, well, I don't want to say our whole planet, because there are some civilizations that really kind of got this right. But there are some, for our whole planet was on this sort of external journey.
Mm-hmm.
And we needed that. You understand it? It's not that wasn't needed. We needed that. Or else we wouldn't have the technology in our time this way to move ourselves forward.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another story, because our ancestors learned how to do that by raising their consciousness along with grounding themselves at the same time. And they accepted their calling, if you want to say, or their assignment to the universe at the point of conception, at birth. And our children are getting back to that point. They know who they are coming here. They're not trying to figure it out. They're not 20, they're not 30, they're not 40, they're not 50, trying to figure out what they came here to do. They know what they came here to do.
That's good.
And they are teaching the world that. See, this is how our ancestors did back in ancient Kemet, back in these ancient civilizations. And we can look to the east, we can look in India, we can look all over the world, right? They accepted their assignment at birth. That's the birthright. That's how you tap in. That's what Bobby was talking about. We have got to get quicker at accepting our assignments quicker to our birthing time. But that's okay, because we're here to figure it out. That's why so many of us had to be reborn and reborn and reborn. We done been reborn, reincarnated while we're still living here.
Right.
Because guess what it's about? We don't want to accept that assignment. Because with that assignment comes responsibility.
Facts.
But you get endless amount. Everything becomes open to you. It becomes open. And even for myself, I kind of like shrugged off my assignment. Like, I don't know, like, this is cool for now, you know, because my whole premise of coming into this was to figure out me. And you know what? To this day, that still is number one. Yes,
Mm.
I do this and I enjoy it. I love everyone I meet. But let me tell you, I'm not doing this for someone else. I'm doing
Wow.
this for me. I need this.
Yeah.
So the beautiful thing is when I'm speaking, when I'm talking to me first. I don't care how loving it is. I don't care how matter of fact it is. That shit is for me. That's for me.
Mm.
I need to hear that. I know I do. You know, that keeps me grounded. That keeps me humbled in the work. And I recognize that I have an assignment. And just like any assignment, it can be taken away. It can be
Mm.
taken away from you. And
Mhm.
at any moment, you can choose another assignment. That's the beautiful thing about it. But are you willing to accept your assignment? And contrary to popular belief, it ain't a name title.
Hmm.
It's
Talk
not a
about it, Miss Blue.
it's not a YouTube channel.
Mm.
It's not the dot 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 behind your name or the dot 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 in front of your name. It's not any of that. That's not what it is. That's not what it's about. It's not an occupation.
Facts.
You know, it's not even an invention. It's not a book. It's not
Wow.
any of these things. It's not any of those. It is so deep. It is so soulful. It's at a soulful level that you are accepting that. And a big part of that acceptance comes from understanding you, understanding you.
Mhm.
Yeah, and let me tell you, Miss Blue, because what you're saying is so true. And I'm like having
Powerful.
these,
Powerful.
my like heart chakra is just like, ah, wide open.
Man, magic.
I'm just feeling all the energy. Because for me personally, what I realized, and that's why I love what you're saying, I want to give people a perspective because I have these two past lives, right? I have a past life where I was completely alone, nobody around, all of my family died in a war, past life. Then I
Mhm.
have a past life where I lived in a community with lots of people and we studied spiritual science and I understood what it was to have community.
Right.
And my assignment in this life is to really create that balance and really heal the relationship with self so that you can have healthy relationships with others.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I want people to understand how you have these two like opposite forces or like contradictions and things like that from previous lives that you incarnate in this present life to really create that balance or to really create that harmony within.
Mhm.
And as we do that work, as I do that work within myself, there's so much stuff that comes up that I'm able to offer to other people. So, Ms. Blue, talk to us about these assignments. Like I just said, mine's is really healing my relationship with myself and understanding that at times it's great to be alone and to take my own solace and my own solitude. And in the same breath, it's good to have community and to be able to give and receive and have these healthy relationships. It's really an energy or inner standing, as like Phil Valentine would say,
Mhm.
right? Talk to us about how you discovered your assignment and how other people can start to recognize what their assignment is on
Mhm.
a deep soul level.
Mhm.
Mhm. Well, one of the things I will say, you're not going to get around the work,
Yes,
period.
Mm,
yes, that's
You,
true.
you're just not. There is no shortcut. You're
Mhm.
not going to get around doing your work. That's number one. But one of the ways that you can begin to start discovering your assignment is really to fall in love with yourself and to
mm,
know what that is. We are love, every single one of us. We are love and not love when it stops, because often we think this love comes from just the mother and the father. That may be the case. That may be the case. But in some cases, that's not the case. You are loved because you come from the divine, you come from the Most High, you come from the universe. And that is pure love, that frequency, that energy. And when you get to know and understand who you are outside of all the things that have influenced you, that you've been indoctrinated into, when you can ground yourself enough to recognize your energy, your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts, it's not about a judgment, but it's about recognizing this is me. This is how I'm operating. Because the truth of the matter is the only way that you are going to discover you is through the other people and things that you experience in this life. You cannot even get to know you by your damn self. It's impossible.
Yes.
It is impossible. It won't happen, you know? So we have this sort of connection that all is one, because that's the first thing I learned coming into consciousness. I don't know about y'all. All is one. All is one. All is you know, you want to say all is one, but do you really want to embody that all is one? And recognize that within yourself. And yes, past life plays a role. Of course, that's a big part of my work is in the Akashic records or in the Akasha and understanding that frequency and that energy. Past lives, 90% of the people on this planet have more than 100 past lives.
Yep.
I haven't met one, and I've done 30, 40. Like I got receipts of these readings I've done for people in their records. And we have been all things. Talk about no thing. We've been all things, and we've done all kinds of things that have impacted our lives along the way. And like you were saying, some of the things that you had that has impacted you. You know, a big part of my work, and I'll say something a little provocative here, but I'm always going to stay true to the work. And as I'm learning the work and continuing growing in the work, in doing these Akashic records for so long, one of the things that I really began to start understanding is, and I talked about this on a lot of shows for many years, is we cannot consider ourselves to be ancient beings and think that everything that is happening is of this time. There's no way you can tell me that it is of this time. It's not the same, you know? You and your daddy don't get along. You can't think it's because he beat your ass when you were 7. You can't think that that's why you can't stand him. You can't think that that's the only situation that has pressed upon you of why this energy is between you two. It is deeper than that. Because as soon as we get grown and we're able to do our own thing, those thoughts would go away. You wouldn't give a second hoot to something that sort of pissed you off one time. Relationships gone awry. You can't think if you still going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You can't think that this is the first time that you've done this. And we've learned this from things in nature. We've learned this for how the oak tree grows and how the offsprings of the oak tree grows. Why do you think they have forests? People can build them, tear them down. They can, build concrete over them. They could do all kinds of things. And what starts to happen? The foundation starts to crack. And all of a sudden, oh, it must have been trees back in the day here, or it used to be water back here. The elements teach us that we have been here before. So we got to know that we have been here before. You've done these things before. And I hear you, D-Ray, when you say, you know, a big part of your work is to learn how to embody yourself and all of that. And I want to challenge you here. That ain't your assignment.
Mm.
That's
Tell
not
me
your
more. I'm
that's not
listening.
your assignment. What that is your maintenance. That's your maintenance for
Mm.
life to live here in
Oh,
this
wow.
incarnation. That ain't an assignment. Oh
Mm.
no. I need you to go further than that. This is one of the
Mm.
reasons we have not superseded what our ancestors have taught us, because we're still caught in the child phase. It's
Mm.
time to grow up. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the lesson that my guides gave to me. That's how I came up with we growing up on planet.
Growing up on Planet Remix.
That's right. We
Yeah.
growing up. And that's why we got to grow up. Because we think that these things, oh, yes, loving ourselves is that portal. Because see, you won't be able to embody, to hear, to have the knowledge and the wisdom to understand an assignment if you're not in that space of knowing who you are and loving yourself. Not
Mm-hmm.
totally, because that's life work, right? But you got to get to the point. It's kind of like in college, you got to have prereq before you take
Mm-hmm.
classes. Can't take a senior class, baby girl, and you're a freshman. Can't do
Yeah.
that. No, no. You know, baby boy, you can't walk into a junior's class when you ain't even a sophomore. You can't do that. So you have to get that foundation for yourself. So when your assignments start to come in, and some of them will be short term, some of
Mm.
them will be long term. We see this now where people are accepting different assignments. Kanye West is a perfect example of accepting his assignments. At first, when he was a child, it was more education and more in creativity through art and expressing himself. He accepted another assignment, became a rapper. Then he accepted another assignment that's sending him on his quote unquote spiritual journey. He literally reincarnated in our face and still doing his thing. Whether you like it, don't like it, understand it or not, look at the components of what's happening before you. So I always will give great homage to him. When we start to go back in our history and we look at those who were great, no matter what their nationality is, no matter what culture they came from, and the things that they've done, we have to be able to recognize that not only within ourselves, but within those who are around us, so we can see that reflection for ourselves. So your assignment is not just to learn how to spend time with you. That's great. You need to do that. And yes, there are some past life things you need to work through, but I need you to go further than that. That's not your assignment. Oh no. Your assignment is to be able to bring that uniqueness of all of your past lives, right? Into the embodiment of who you are in this life and connect it to the oneness. However, that expression comes out for you, but go beyond that. Go beyond the maintenance. Go
Mm.
beyond that. You wouldn't buy a car and say, my main purpose of this car is to get the oil change, make sure I put the
Yeah.
washer fluid in it, change my tires, make sure I start it up. No, that car has a totally another assignment that you want to take it on. It's not for just going to work. It's not for just joyriding with your friends. You have a whole nother assignment for that. We have to begin to go beyond our perceptions. And that's
Mm.
mine, that's yours, that's going beyond.
Yeah, that's good.
Wow. Yeah.
That's powerful, Miss Blue, and that's And that's where this unconditional love for self and unconditional love for others actually falls into place, because when you are in that kind of vibration, kind of like what Kanye is, because you look at Kanye and you'll be like, this motherfucker, is he egotistical or is he just in his? But no, he's probably in a space or in a zone where he's so in love with himself that this inspiration starts to pour out of him. Right, he's walking in spirit. So now, as he's walking in this kind of spirit zone, he's inspired, and he just moves in certain different flows and avenues that moves his avatar, if you will. I
Mm-hmm.
have this thing that says first spirit, then the seconds will come, right? Because when you do tap into spirit and really start to understand yourself and love on yourself, you kind of do move in a certain flow, which is freeing, or which is, not really judgment of others, but then just moving in a direction that your spirit is leading you to.
Mm.
Absolutely. And really, it puts you in a position where you don't have time to judge nobody because
Hmm.
you too focused on what you got to get done,
Hmm.
you know, what you got to get done. So, yeah. Hmm.
That's real powerful, Ms. Blue. And that brings me to my next question, because there's something about the divine feminine, right? Or these great mothers, right? Tapping into the unseen world. You see, like, it's perceived, or it seems like the divine feminine goddesses, right, is more in tune with, the spirit world, right? They got the tarot, and their intuition and hunches and dreams. D Ray be telling me about some dreams. They be so alive, and I'd be like, damn, what the hell? My dream, I ain't get that live. So it be kind of amazing, and I'd be like, so it, what is something like the divine masculine has to let go of to tap into, this feminine power even more?
Yeah. Well, and I love that about dreams. I would say for the divine masculine is to understand that the divine feminine flows within them.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
going to tell you something. I discovered that there are some brothers on this planet that can tap into the divine feminine better than some women.
Hmm.
And so, often when we hear that word, some people think what's between their legs, and
Right.
that has nothing to do with it. You know, we're talking about the energy. And this is something that if you study the priest of ancient Egypt, you will know that before the priests would go into the temples to do their work, they would have to get the blessing of the goddesses. That's why in ancient Egypt, you will see the goddess Mut in the form
Mhm.
of a vulture carved above the temple walls, because that vulture is one of the sacred totems for the goddess Mut.
Mhm.
And I have this in my oracle deck, but the goddess Mut is blessing them to go into the temple to do their sacred work.
Mm.
And so the divine masculine, I know this from working with Brother Bilal,
Mhm.
can tap in. We do our work totally different. He really goes into the astrology and astronomy. That's his realm. I go through the Akashic, and I go through the vibration of numbers and energy,
Mm.
but we both meet at the same place, with where the information is coming from. So the divine masculine can tap into that energy by recognizing, number one, they have it inside of them. That is an ability to cultivate within.
Mhm.
So you may say, what is so different about the divine feminine that we have the ability to be able to tap into this energy just as a birthright and even from states of unconsciousness,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I would preference that by saying we are different beings and we live in a multi-universe. Doesn't mean that brothers can't. Don't come for me, brothers. Hold on. But for us, women, because of our womb energy and being able to give life,
Mm-hmm.
to create life, because we have the ability to do that, that opening, and this speaks to women no matter what phase of their life they're in, whether they're in childbirthing years, not in childbirthing years, whether or not they had to have a situation where they had to have some of the organs removed from that portal, the portal still exists.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Literally, as we are here on earth, we are also connected. I want to say this in a way so that anyone who hears this can really get it. We are connected with earth, but at the same time, we are connected to the center of the earth, the Milky Way, in the Akasha, which goes beyond that. The Milky Way is just an entry point. So you can think of it as just a point of entry.
Mm-hmm.
We are connected on this side of the veil and the other side of the veil at the same time. It's always there. That's why you can have a person that doesn't know any of the things or practice any of the things that we do. They could be living their lives. They can consider themselves an atheist, but they will wake their ass up. Typically, these will be women and say, "This is going on with my child."
Facts.
That's how we know.
Mm-hmm.
So there is something to be said about embodying in this lifetime the embodiment of the feminine. The voice of the mother is something the whole universe responds to.
Yeah.
The voice of the mother. That is the voice that God Himself listened to, that He heard echoing to Himself.
Mm.
It is the voice of creation. And all things bow to the feminine, not bow in a submissive point of view, but bow down as the recognition to the creator of this thing that we call life, living, or energy.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's good, Miss Blue. Yeah, and yes, we
Wow.
do bow down because I am a slave in my own. So,
Not a
hey,
slave. No, not a slave.
hey, don't worry about it, Miss Blue. I'm gonna call you so you can get me out of here. 'Cause I'm telling you, but nah, but that's real because mothers know. Like my mama, she's not spiritual or whatever. She's walking the Christian path,
But,
but
and I
she's.
guess I would say this, and I don't mean to cut you off.
Mhm.
Everyone is spiritual. We got to get
Right,
out of
right,
that
right,
label.
right, 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 right.
Mm.
Everyone is.
Hmm.
Everyone is. But go ahead. I understand what you mean. I understand. I do.
She would know it, like she would just have a hunch and feeling or something, and she would call me or like do whatever to make me come home because I was one of them children that just be out or whatever at night and stuff like
Mm,
that. So she would know and have a sense, like a sixth sense, because she wouldn't bother me and call because she felt like I was just growing into my own and she felt like I was responsible. But man, the minute there was some kind of trouble, she would just tell me and she just knew and she could look at my friends and say, "Oh no, that's not the person for you," or so
absolutely.
mothers just have this innate ability to recognize you know uh their sixth sense, right? They got that spidey sense on, which is a
Mm.
powerful tool. And
I,
I feel like I have that capability, of course, but the mothers tell you there's something about these great mothers that have such a powerful
yeah.
energy
I,
that
I, I,
yeah.
I, I, I totally agree with you on that. And I'll tell you, Dreamwise, part of my assignment is to really help us to understand that everybody is psychic. It's our birthright. Everybody, the work that I do, the work that you guys do, everyone is psychic. No one has this disclaimer on it. No one. Everyone, every single person has the ability to do these things. Every single person. That's why we can't get caught in labels. It will keep us in the bucket.
Facts.
Thinking, ooh, my role is to be a psychic. No, I need you to go beyond. I need you to go beyond the psychic, beyond the oracle, beyond the goddess, beyond the magician. I need you to go beyond that. That's a part of your maintenance.
Yes.
That's a part of your maintenance. What is your assignment here? That's the maintenance. That's the birthright. We were given that. Yes, for so many years, and still some of us on the planet have not woken up to that understanding. But that's not drop everything and let's run and go figure out what tarot deck and what YouTube channel and what spiritual thing we need to bring through. Right. That's not meant for all of us to do that. Now, some of us, we have accepted that that is the assignment we were given. My goal as a student, because I look at myself as the student, I'm not the teacher, I'm the student. And when these teachers are coming before me, is to move you beyond that, move you beyond what you thought was only possible, and to go to something greater than your perception of who you are. Go further than that. Yeah. We keep stopping. Every time a new fad comes out, we get right there and we stop. Everyone has a Michael Jordan inside of them. But everyone is not going to, everybody can play basketball, but everyone's not going to be Michael Jordan. And it's not designed. Imagine if the people who came in our lives, imagine if the Bobby Hemmets stopped at wanting to just be a Michael Jordan. Imagine if Queen Afua only stopped at a certain level. Imagine if all of these great teachers who are here now, who were here before us, only said, we're going to stop at what is current in the times. Imagine if we only stopped there. This is how come we can't go further. It's nothing wrong. Books, knowledge, information, it's nothing wrong with that. But I talked about it on my show a long time, and I talked about these phases when it was given to me that the records closed, the records have moved. Half of the people thinking their ass are getting in the records, they're not in the records. They're in an old warehouse. No one goes to the old warehouse. The records are in you. That's why I created the program I have where you can write in your own records going forward. We are creating tomorrow. We're building this new world. And we have to know that. So that requires us to be able to listen to our higher selves and the divine. That requires us to go beyond what we think we know. To go beyond that. To go beyond, we have to dig deeper. That's the real deep dive. So we can get new books, get new information, get things out here, not regurgitated information. I talk about a lot of things, and I know you all know this, that can be controversial. It can be very provocative. But most of those things we do, myself and Brother Bilal, when we're with Self-Invested, our group Soul Magic, or I'm working with the Divine Priestess. Because as the saying goes, for those who have the ears to hear, they can hear it. Because so much of what's going on is just regurgitated information. And I get it. Sometimes we need that because people need a foundation. I get that. And I'm not saying my teaching of foundation is over, but I'm saying at the same time, I'm going to push your ass. Go beyond the basic maintenance. Show me something else. What else can you do? What else do you have inside of you? Is it an invention? Is it something that's going to help us evolve when it comes to medicine and our understanding? Is it the way we express ourselves in the physical? Is it clothing? Is it jewelry? Is it something to do with our hair? Is it working with our babies or working with our elders? What is that understanding? What is it that you are here to bring forth?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's powerful, Miss Blue. And that's why you are the master student. And just like all of us are master students, because at the end of the day, when we're able to understand this thing at the core and say, you have to be able to, if this is what you want to do, you have to be able to express yourself on this earth realm how you do, right?
Mhm.
How it flows out to you. For instance, with me, I'm a whole different type of being. So I'm just saying, whatever whatever comes to my mind, I be decoding these movies and stuff, but this is what I see from
Mhm.
my mind, from my own natural
Absolutely.
divine mind. You see what I'm saying? And everybody
Absolutely.
does have the ability to do that. I guess I'm just the one that's privy to say, hey, let me tell you what I see. You see
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Well, you're seeing it from more of a galactic view.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's some sessions that myself and Brother Bilal we do called soul sessions. And in these soul sessions, I take you beyond your past life. I
Mm.
take you beyond what your understanding is, in between, before your life, and after your life. And in those sessions, a lot of people have been able to uncover and bring back information that really has been beneficial to everything that we do and the work that we do. And for you, Dreamwise, a big part of that is your embodiment that you have spent on other planets and other worlds, you know? That's one of the reasons we have the aliens on our YouTube channel on the videos. The aliens are dancing there because I know those who are called, they're going to see that and wonder why they got them aliens there. And for those who know, they know, what we're calling aliens or ancient beings. There are many beings that have lived inside of the earth. We're always looking up in the sky. And yes, there's greatness there, but there's greatness inside of the earth. And you're one of those beings who have lived deep within the earth. You know, there's different groups of consciousness, and you come from that group of consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in that group of consciousness, what it allows the ability to do, it really connects to everything that we know when we start to think about superheroes, beast and different things that will invade the earth. So when you see these archetypal energies, you can relate to them because you were once one of them.
Mm-hmm. I be trying to tell D-Ray all the time, man.
You
Can
know?
I get something to eat?
Yeah, so I'm quite sure that you have a healthy appetite. Do you remember back in the day when they used to have Bigfoot and they used to talk about all of this stuff about Bigfoot and
Mhm.
maybe when y'all were kids or when we were kids, they would have all these stories about Bigfoot in the woods and how they would see him. Well, that was just one of those portals that was open on the planet, and there's still many that is, because really you can get to, the star Sirius by, going through some of these portals. And we have them. They're located in Arizona, some parts of um, Nevada. There's other portals around the world where you can actually get into these places in Russia. Of course, Africa has some on their continent as well, that you can leave. You can leave from these different energy centers and you can travel underground and find your way there. In fact, I want to say I can't think of the city right now, but there is a project that was a universal project that was worked on, and the US was part of it, where they have this underground tunnel that does take you from country to country to country. And there was some work that was done on it. That's why, even when we start to talk about ancient civilizations, which, by the way, we'll be finding so many more of them, they're saying they were underground or they're uncovering them under earth, but these are civilizations that lived at that dimension.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they lived. And there were people there. A big part of ancient Egypt is not underground. That's where they were living. That's where people lived,
Mm-hmm.
deep, deep within the mantle of the planet, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, that's
So
powerful.
I'm not surprised that you are able to decode and, be able to tap into all of these, because these would be everything that existed on planet Earth, no matter
Exactly.
where their original origin came from, or, if we want to say star system or whatever, it's a part of that collective, that essence that
Well,
was there.
you know what's interesting, Miss Blue, and I was just telling the Patreon family that this morning, because we got like a little morning build that we do, and I was like basically saying, when, because Khadija gave me a reading, and I was never under the impression that I would be doing what I'm doing now, right?
Hmm.
And when she gave me the reading, she was like, "Nah, you're gonna have to do this and that." And I was like, "This lady, man, I don't know what's wrong with Panic, but she don't know me. I'm about that death realm. I'm trying to get up." But now, what I was telling them early this morning, I was like, but as I kept moving and understanding that, okay, you can't be the, death realm and fall in love with death and all of this other stuff. You got to be, present, like you say, and grounded to the earth and just do what your assignment has called you to do. Now I start to realize and understand how all of this stuff is kind of falling into fruition, if you will, and
Yeah.
it's moving that way in such a amazing, powerful way. So yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, Ms. Blue, I got a few more questions for you, man. Can you give before that though, because I know you want to say you're a master student, which I appreciate, but we still want the knowledge from you. We still
Well,
want the classes. So
Well,
please, can you continue?
and you will
Uh,
get that, I think the best person to teach a class is a student.
Facts, facts, facts. What yeah, they said, what was it? It said you can't have be a teacher if there's no students. And the student can't, whatever that saying was. So yeah, that's good. Can you give them a few of the stuff that you have going on before we ask you these last few questions? Because I want the family to try to get in if they can. Because listen, family, you ain't gonna get in. Miss Blue might not lock let you in.
Well, the beautiful thing is we're living in a time where we have so many beautiful people doing the work, you
Hmm.
know, and really doing what I like to say is great work, you know. And one of the things that I've also recognized is that Planet Remix, the classes, the workshop, this is where those teachers are coming to really harness their skills, work, and knowledge. And we're truly, truly honored for that. I think back to when I was doing the work that I was doing, and I say in my universe, because that's where it is. We all have our very own universes. And, speaking of getting the readings, I remember my very first reading ever in my life was from Brother Bobby Hemmett. And he told me these things and even more that I would be doing. And I laughed and said, not me. I'm not interested in that, because at that particular time, that was beyond my perception of even what I felt I was doing. That's why I always say when you do things from a pure heart and a clear mind, the possibilities are endless. And you can allow the universe to surprise you, the Most High. You know, you allow yourself to connect with your blueprint in a way that you never imagined, that you never could even imagine, you know? And that's the value of having people like you two in your lives, and others, all of us doing this work. It's the value of having people in your lives because they can often hold a vision for you that they can see that you until you can see it for yourself, and sometimes. And then you still get to decide, like you're not locked in, to it, but you get to decide if that's where you're going to grow and what you're going to accept for yourself along the way. So, some of the things that I have going on: one, I still do personal readings. And I know a lot of people ask that and they send those questions. Do you still do personal readings? Absolutely. My waiting list is about 3 years long, and it's been that way for many, many years. And so I try to cut it off at that point. That's one of the reasons I give so much, myself and Brother Bilal, that we do on Planet Remix because of that. The other thing is to we have coming up, I'll talk about what's coming up. We have the spiritual boot camp that's coming up. It's going to be a 2-day spiritual boot camp. And this spiritual boot camp, it's online because primarily most of the work that I do is online. And it's really a high intensity boot camp that's going to focus on mind, spirit, and body. And, these are some things to really help you unlock some of those things, no matter where you are on your journey, helping you to build that spiritual sense and really understand what that is for you. And then simply how to grow, because there are so many unhidden um, keys that are in our mind that put limits on us, and in our body with our willpower, you know, and really tapping into that energy of the spirit quest and how to be able to connect with those things and really understand the hidden meaning of a soul purpose of being, of being who you are, being here at this time as a soul being. So we have that coming up. We have summer school coming up for the very first time. That's going to be exciting. And so that's a program that we're going to offer during the summertime. And everything is really based on real time, real time magic, what's happening right now in your life. And then I'm excited about this. I have another Divine Priestesshood that's going to be coming up, which is a program that I have with women who are called into the priestesshood, and they get a chance to come and they get a chance to study and to work on themselves as a priestess. And I am their guide through that particular process. It's about a year-long program that we work together. And thus far, I've done two of them. And I'm truly, truly honored and so grateful, so thankful for all of those amazing, powerful mothers, woman, goddesses who've been a part of that program. So we'll be doing that. And then also we have Self-Invested Workshop, which is also a year-long program that myself and Brother Bilal that we do, which all of these programs we do together, except for the priestesshood is led by me. But Self-Invested, we started usually around August, and then we end around May this time. And it is an intensive, talk about doing the work. That is definitely doing the work at a soul level. So you get to roll up your sleeves and roll up your pant legs. And we are there as guides to you. It's not a lecture. It's not lectures. We don't lecture you. This is where we hold you accountable. This is where we allow you to step into the fullness of who you are and really show you how to work with all the different modalities and to understand, who you are, who you've been, and really sort of show you how to access your divine blueprint, so that you can see yourself from every spiritual aspect or every system on the planet. So we study everything from quantum physics to, numerology, astrology, this all of the psychic, all of the clairs. Like we go through everything. We go through the holistic part, the food part of it. Like we do everything. And we have that available, and it's available for individuals and for whole families. We have whole families, and we have people who listen from all over the world. And we do that work and we meet together. So those are the things that I have coming up. Yeah. Hmm.
That's good, Miss Blue. And how would they be able to get to those things?
It's
Uh,
a couple of ways. Number one, you can always email questionforblue@gmail.com, and that's going to come directly to me. That's one of the ways. The other way is to get on our text line, Planet Remix text line, where you can actually text us. And when you text us, that's going to, put you in our soul tribe, so that you can have access. Now, most of it, we will tell you, make sure, there's some other steps to take, but it's really for us to be able to connect with you, to find out what's going on in your world. What are some of the things that we can assist you with and help you with, and just for us to have some good old fashioned communication, to talk to each other, because that's so important for me to do as well too, and to learn more about who you are and to learn more about who we are. And so you can text us at the text number, and I'm going to give you that number here. You would think I know it, but I have that remix number, so in my head sometimes I
All
think.
the information will be in the description too, family. So
Okay,
all
perfect.
of it will
Thank
be
you
in
for
the description.
that. Yeah, if I can get to it. Oh, here we go. Okay, so if you text Planet Remix to 512-359-3414, that will be able to put you in contact with us on the text list. And you'll receive a message back, letting you know that you're a part of the Soul Tribe there. And you'll get some information. And whenever I send out any information of what we have going on or what we're doing, you'll be on that list and you'll be able to have access. Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful. And listen, family, all the information will be in the description. So make sure y'all hit up Miss Blue. Y'all go follow Miss Blue on her YouTube page also, because she be dropping all the light all the time, just like she's doing right now. Now, there's another aspect in these now times that's kind of chaotic. But first, let me start with this, Miss Blue. Did your kids ever uh listen to your show?
Oh, they do. They listen.
That's
Oh, yeah.
power, yeah.
All the time. My mother listens.
Uh-huh.
Family members listen. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
That's magic. That's magic. Now we got this new thing called Clubhouse, where we built and kind of met, you know what I mean, and kind of built this thing to get you here, which is connecting a lot of beings together,
Yes.
especially in this Aquarius age and everything and all of that. First, let me say this before I get off, before I forget. Sister Myra was just with Mel. She just did a deep dive on
Hmm.
Mel's page, which was very, very powerful. We just got through watching that. So shout out to Sister Myra, because I
Oh
know,
yeah, shout out. And she's been on Planet Remix
yeah, I know.
before
Yes,
as well
yes.
too. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it's such a beautiful time when we can look back at our lineage, and I'm proud, I'm truly honored for everyone who I have come in contact with, because I've learned so much from all of them doing the work and expressing themselves. And I'm forever grateful, truly grateful to each and every single one. Yeah.
Right. And the power of your voice, Miss Blue. Oh my God, you just blow people away just with your voice. But now with Clubhouse coming in, and then the utilizes of this app, and it's connecting so many different minds together, so many different people together in real time, energy. It's like, man, this is a beautiful thing. What do you feel is happening with this Clubhouse thing and just this Aquarius age and all of
Mhm.
that that's happening in this now time, that's connecting like family members or soul tribes together?
Mhm. Well, I'll tell you, I shouted yay once I learned what Clubhouse was about, because for so many years, that's what Planet Remix was about. and working through that process. When I started Planet Remix, it's grown into what we all have made it. And I'm so grateful for that. And so now I think on record, I think even if you go to Blog Talk Radio, where the host of Planet Remix is the hub, the portal. I started it. They've upgraded their system, so some of the shows have been lost, due to upgrades. I have a copy of them, but that accountability is there, and they have grown as I've grown. Because when I started with them, they were actually in beta. They were a beta program. It was just something they were testing, much like Clubhouse.
Wow,
How
wow,
Clubhouse
yeah,
started,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and at one time, there was only one channel. So when one person was doing a show, no one else could do a show. And we only had 3 phone lines, and there was no chat room. There was no way to listen, and you couldn't listen outside of Blog Talk. And it was in beta, which means they're just testing it. They don't even know if this is something that's going to work or not. And so fast forward to now, um, my statistics is around between 6 and 7 million listeners, unique listeners from around the world, you know? So Planet Remix is its own universe, in itself. So when I first discovered Clubhouse, and by the way, shouts out to YouTube because I didn't even know what Clubhouse was. My daughter was watching a makeover video,
Mhm.
and so towards the end, a guy came on and he was talking about something that happened within the beauty community. And he said, "Oh, but we'll talk about that on Clubhouse." And I was laying in the bed and I said, "Clubhouse?" I said, "I'm too old to go to the club, but let me see what this is about." Spirit said, "Google that." So I Googled it. I didn't find anything on Clubhouse. And I said, let me, I said, let me check on my phone. I checked on my phone and I seen Clubhouse there. And I said, let me sign up for it. So I signed up for Clubhouse and just sat there. And so, of course, that's how I got to Clubhouse. But I say that to say that to me, it felt so right at home because this is much of the work that I was doing. When a lot of people who started this work were doing in person and live events, I was online. I was only online. I wasn't in person. I wasn't holding live events.
Mhm.
And that's something when spirit really moves me, which some things are, hopefully, when we open back up, we have some things planned to be doing that. But that's not where my teachings came in from me. It was to stay online. It was to do this work online because in the beginning, remember, and still is, but in the beginning, it was about me trying to understand me,
Mhm.
you know? So Clubhouse feels right at home to me. And
Oh.
it's allowed me the opportunity to connect with more people outside of my universe. And like you two amazing beings, people inside of my universe that we've been connected to before. But because there are so many people listening from so many parts of the world, we couldn't get at each other. And then a lot of times our timelines, our frequency didn't intersect at the right moment, at the right time you
Mhm.
know? And so this is the time for expansion, for us to expand ourselves, to go beyond. Believe it or not, Clubhouse for me is stepping outside of my comfort zone. Because
Mhm.
Planet Remix, this is stepping outside of my comfort zone. This is expansion for
Mhm.
me in a way because
Mhm.
I have my universe that I'm in and everybody's in there with me. I go in there. It's like, hey, everybody, you know how you go to a party and everybody know who you are? you know? And going to Clubhouse was going somewhere that no one knew me.
Mhm. Yeah.
No one knew me, you
Yeah.
know? Or at
That's
least I thought. And then they all start saying,
I
I've been
was
listening to
like,
you for
nobody
10
knew you.
years.
What? I was like,
Oh,
oh.
I this and that. But it was onesies and twosies, but it allowed me the opportunity to connect with so many other people in so many different ways. And I think that's what we all should want for ourselves at
Mhm.
some point, to be able to expand ourselves, to grow ourselves, you know, not for any other reason than just to get the experience of life, of
Right.
living here and
Mm-hmm.
connecting with each other. And I've learned so much from so many people. Like I said, I always will take the seat of the student, and I just love learning. And when I met D-Ray and she was talking, I said, wow,
Mm-hmm.
who is this sister? And she just, she was talking and talking, and then she was like, Miss Blue, we've been listening to you. And I was like, wait, what? Like, amazing. She's so beautiful. And just her energy and everything about her. And then your work as well. So the honest truth is, I'll say this in the most humble way to myself. There's so many amazing people that listen to Planet Remix and have been there for so long that are doing some tremendous, amazing things. And some of them people will email me and I'll get a chance to check out their work and or to go see what they're doing and doing that. But when we start getting into the millions, like I'm not going to be able you know, to connect with every single person on that level. So I trust what the divine puts before me and trust that path. You understand? That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing an interview here. And I get these requests and have been getting them for years and years and years and years and years. That's why I'm here,
Yeah.
because I know that this was divine for us to meet at this time. Why? Because I could feel it in my spirit.
Mm.
And that's something that we all must be using, that discernment of what is there, that discernment for where you are on your path, you know? And that can be very different for all of us. No judgment to how anybody else works. No judgment. We are all one, but we got to stay focused on what we're doing. You
Yeah.
understand? And yes, we all need to get our flowers. I believe that, and we all deserve to have our flowers.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
Yes.
I go by the premise of understanding we're all one.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's
And if
good.
we're all one, I don't have to spend forever bigging you up. We're all one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all one, you
Let me
know?
Yeah.
let me
And I
say this
hold
real
you
quick, babe.
in the same light and value and vibration that I hold myself, because
Mm-hmm.
we're all one. And if I'm there, I know you got to be there with me. So I love Clubhouse. I really enjoy connecting and meeting people over there and, sharing. I
Yeah.
don't know if I answered the question or
No,
not.
you
I
did,
kind of
Miss
I
Blue.
kind of went on a reminisce, because
No.
I think about, me and D-Ray, making that connection and how beautiful, and when she comes on stage and the relationship you two have and with your children. And I think I remember telling you this, D-Ray. It's so necessary for this work to come out there for our young sisters and brothers all over the world that have children that are in the space and time that you two are, that hold the information and knowledge that you two have.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us are parents, or even if we're in my so group, in immediate age so group, at the time, we didn't have that knowledge raising our children. But look how much you two have access to when it comes to relationships and building with this level of understanding. You
Mm-hmm.
know, this
Power.
this is so needed. It's so needed in our world today, what you two are doing. So the more that you incorporate together, that sacred union, the more that you incorporate your children, the more that you can continue to share that, you are building generations that will forever change and grow and be on a totally different timeline. Totally different. Someone 19, someone 18, someone just getting married, listening to you two, seeing how you operate, seeing this example will change their lives forever, forever. And I don't want you two to ever forget that.
Mhm.
Forever.
Yeah. That's
Now
good.
that's an assignment, huh, Miss Blue?
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Now that's an
But
assignment.
but you know what, Miss Blue, it was just such a powerful thing, and especially for the Clubhouse app, because I noticed that you're a power. That's why you're Miss Blue, because of the throat chakra, right? but even more so with just the throat chakra and your voice, and you're able to express yourself and your ideas very beautifully, eloquently, right? You're able to step back and listen, right?
She can hear.
Which is also the throat chakra, because now
Yes.
you're in a zone of gathering all this different information from people that always been on the other side just listening, but now you're bringing it up to the stage and you're saying, yes, so what would you what would you need, or do you want to express yourself, and da da da, and this gives a voice to the quote unquote person that never had a chance to express themselves, just always listening, and then gives a new thought or new idea or new wave, right, into the universe. So it's a powerful thing that you're doing, Ms. Blue, over there on Clubhouse. I just want to say that because, man, it's just beautiful to see, the relationships that you're building with all these different entities and beings up there. Go ahead, babe.
No, Miss Blue, I would have liked if Priestess Erica could have been here, because this was one she needed to hear. Because
Erica been with you so long, Miss Blue. That's amazing. That's
so many, believe it or not, so many. And it always amazes me when someone, I think back, and what always brings it real home? When they start telling me how old their children are. Because I'd be like, wait, I remember when you had her. Like, what are you saying? Like, how old is she? But it's so many, Priestess Erica, Priestess Chastity, Sister Munya. I mean, baby Nai, Sister Munya, I met her before she was pregnant with baby Nai, and now she's 9. I think she's 9 or 10 years old, So it's so many sisters and brothers that have been listening, and some are what I like to call the unseen listeners, but certain shows, certain things bring them out, and they'll say, oh, I've been listening to you for 13 years. Oh, I've been listening to you for this long. And yeah. And so they're still there, some. And many have gone off on other paths to do their work, which that's a part of it too. That's a part of it too, is that, you do your work and then others say, hey, I'm going to go this way. This is what I feel my assignment is. And you send them with love. You send them off with love. And I want us all to continue to do great things. So I'm so grateful. So grateful.
Yeah,
Dr.
Miss
Faye,
Blue.
At the end of the day, shoot, nobody ain't trying to call in when panic's on the thing. Panic be you be intimidated. You be like, I better not call. Maybe not today. I'll just wait on that.
Well, I think we all, have called forth those we have a connection with and their teaching. And that's what we all must do. Find what resonates with you. Find where you can go get what you need, wherever that is. Listen to your soul to call it. Like, look at the time that we're living in, that we have so many ways and so many people doing this work that we can go get that from. Like, it's almost no excuse. It's no excuse for you not to be doing your work, because you have so many options and so many choices available to you. Speaking of which, sometimes people tell me they scared to call in, but I'm sure they could say that about anybody, even themselves at times. But allow yourself to find, your tribe. It's so many tribes out there. Find your tribe. Find where you feel you can sit and you can get what you need, whatever it is you're seeking, what you're seeking at that time, whatever your soul is calling you for,
Listen, Miss Blue, and I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all in the chat gonna feel the same way. Sometimes, I'm not consciously looking for anything, but when I tune in to Planet Remix, I don't even have to call in, but a part of the conversations and the builds you are having with people, and even between you and Brother Bilal, are always just like, damn, that is exactly what I needed to hear. Like, I had this question deep in the back of my mind that I wasn't even fully aware of. until you said something that reminded me of something that I needed. And I just think that is so powerful. So when we're saying that we are all one, that's really a real thing, because you're talking to people who, I don't know where I don't know anything about them, but it's something that comes through you that connects to them, that connects to me, and that connects to so many other people listening.
Yeah.
Listen, Miss Blue, let me ask you this, because I'm like, how are you up so late doing this? I be sleep, then I wake up right on time. I'm like, how does Miss Blue do this?
I'm telling you, the assignment. On assignment, that's a big part. And truly, I love the work. I love the work because I understand that I'm a work in progress. You understand? So I love the work. And it's so many things that I learn every time that I make a connection. If I'm talking with someone, I did readings for some children last week, and I just, man, it just, it was so amazing, just to be able. And the funny part is, I kind of say to myself, they actually think I'm giving them a reading, but they're really giving me the reading, and I remember when I meet some of our elders who are here, and it just brings me to tears. I've done a reading for a brother who was in his 90s, that he was listening from his either great grandnephew or great grandson had told him about me, a sister who's in her 80s. And I'm just like, wow, no, I'm not giving you a reading, you're giving me a reading. Like, this is an honor. And I say that for everyone I come in contact with. But I also know, like, I don't like mixing sugar with shit, as the saying goes. I'm going to give it to you as spirit gives it to me, because I know your soul is on the line. And what you decide to do with it is ultimately your free will, your birthright. But you won't say that you didn't hear it. And I understood that as to the work that I've done. And early in my work, I remember when people were calling me Oracle, 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 I didn't even know. To this day, I have never watched the movie The Matrix from start to finish. Never. Never seen it. Never seen it. But when people kept saying that, I was like, you know. And then when I started getting into my work and understanding, it was all kinds of things. Like, I could talk about these stories, but I want to go back to the remix and why your question, D. Ray, because I knew that everything that I did to listen from spirit, that's something Bobby has always, we would talk about often, is it would become timeless. And it would connect to those who come. It's not by accident. It's not by mistake. And I don't take that lightly. I do not take that lightly. I know. So I tell people, go to Planet Remix, use that as your oracle, right? Spin it, spin it. Where it stops, set your intention. That's going to be the show for you. I don't care when you're listening. I don't care if it's now, I don't care if it's 30 years from now, 50 years from now. It is going to be what you need. It's going to be what you need at this time. And it's because we all are one, and we're a part of an oversoul group, a tribe, right? And in that oversoul group, just like the people who listen to you guys on Patreon, they're a part of that oversoul group. When something is happening to one of the members in the group and the people who are connected with you, it is impacting the collective. It is impacting us all, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's powerful, Miss Blue. We love it. Man, we love you. We appreciate you,
Love
Miss
you
Blue.
guys too. This was
And
cool. Yeah.
man, it was such a beautiful build, man. There's so much knowledge and information. Are you going to be on tonight, Miss Blue?
Tonight is Saturday. So tonight,
Sunday night.
Sunday, I mean, tonight is Sunday night. Sunday, that's a good question. I don't know if I'm going to be
Oh, Miss Blue, I wanted to tell you too. Yesterday, you was in a that was beautiful what you did last night too. So y'all got to go follow Miss Blue, man. Miss Blue the Oracle. Go follow her Planet Remix. The link will be in the description for her YouTube page.
Or
But then,
Blue Raspberry on YouTube.
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
but
Or
then
Blue
also go
Raspberry.
to Planet Remix on the Blog Talk and listen to them old past episodes, because those are, man, those are classics. Some of those are just man.
They are living records.
Yeah.
And that, for me, when I got into the Akashic records, it was shown to me how to make living records. And so my work is intentional in that way. It is alive, you know, whether it's Clubhouse, Blog Talk, here, it's a living record. It's alive. It comes alive. The energy, the essence, everything, it's alive. So you can definitely hear that work, hear it, and it's so many. Like, I strolled through the archives as well, just to go back and really listen, and at certain things that come up in my life as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. What Bobby say? Is the tape on?
Yes, yes.
He's not playing.
He made sure that tape was on, boy. He said,
Make sure it's rolling.
yeah. And then if it was off, they said, well, this was just hearsay. He said if it was off, then he would just stop talking. I don't know how true that was, but and then once the tape came back on, he would say, all right, boom, let me put this information down, because it's not for
assignment again.
Yeah.
His assignment. He knew his assignment. Yeah.
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 And Miss Blue, I love what you said about the maintenance part, because when you said it, a light bulb went off, like ding, like damn, that's true. That's true, because if I'm not doing that work, if I'm not aligning like that, like really getting into myself and all of that, I don't feel like doing any other work. So it is maintenance.
Yeah, it's maintenance. We got to stop thinking of it as a purpose. It's maintenance.
It's maintenance.
We got to go beyond.
That's genius. That's just absolutely genius. Listen, one more question, Miss Blue, because it sounds like Dream is like, we don't want to keep Miss Blue all day. And I get that, and I don't want to either. But I know the people want to hear this, because I want to hear it as well. Miss Blue, you tap into the spirit guides, into the ancestors, like you jump in. And you said earlier that this is a skill, this is a gift. This is, I don't even know if we want to use the word gift, but you're saying it's something that we all have within us.
Absolutely.
What is stopping the family from being able to connect and recognize the messages of their spirit guides, recognizing the presence of their spirit guides, or recognizing the presence of their ancestors? What is stopping them from seeing that, and what do they need to do to be in a space to where they can tap in for themselves?
It really stops what stops you is to believe that your power lies outside of you, and that can come across in so many ways, and we've sort of been indoctrinated to believe that things outside of us are more important than what we have in our head. As children, we're told that daydreaming is something that is a waste of time, right? Don't daydream, stay focused. And yes, there is power in being in the moment. You must be in the moment. But one of the things I would say is thinking that something outside of you, when you separate yourself from the divine, God, when you think God is in the sky somewhere, or the devil, let's just put it out there, or anybody, Buddha, when you think they are away from you, meaning they are not in you, when you think your ancestor is away from you, not in you, you cannot build a bridge to connect. You can't hear. You won't be able to connect with them.
Yeah.
But when you stop for a moment, and this is one of the best ways to really be able to make that connection when you want to talk to your ancestors. And we can think about something that really is impacting the planet at this time, which has to do with our blood, which is so key to our life in this physical body. that the same blood that ran through your great, 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 great grandfather and your great, 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 great grandmother, that blood is running through you. Now we can look at science. Science has shown that DNA has consciousness in it. It has an understanding in it. Your DNA has memory in it. It holds essence in it. It can be performed and it's reactive and proactive depending on the environment and conditions that your blood is placed in. This is science. So now switch that word out and put ancestors in there and know that that is within. See, we spent 26,000 years on a hero's journey. And now we're on the opposite, which is the shero's journey. I'll change the terminology so we can understand it in a different way. We have worked to build our Christ consciousness from the masculine point of view, which was in the physical. And so we have an understanding of how to do that. We know how to work. We know how to cook. We know how to drive. We know how to use the computer. We know how to do things. We know how to write. We know how to communicate. We know how to do these things. But now the world have been called for the divine feminine to come forward. So now we're on that Christ conscious journey of the divine feminine, otherwise known as the journey or the path of Sophia, getting into that energy or getting into the energy of the divine, the supreme feminine. This journey is inside. So instead of us trying to ascend and leave earth, because that's what the Christ consciousness taught us, that's why they show you Christ on the cross, his physical body dies, he leaves and he gets out of here. But now we are, it's almost like we got tricked. Everybody trying to leave the damn planet. Where you going, son? Where you going? Right? Nobody wants to come back here. Well, no one made you come. No one made you come. You're here for a reason. Now what you have to do is embody. That's the supreme feminine. Embody this physical body. And what can you manifest here? This is the supreme feminine Christ consciousness that we're all tapped into. This is it. This is where we're tapped in. So people are starting to embody, not ascend. It doesn't mean we won't ascend, because we all will. But don't you want to finish what you started? I don't know about anybody else, but I want to finish what I started.
See it through. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That's beautiful, Miss Blue.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah.
Hey, this is inside out, not outside in. There's nothing outside of you except for this illusion. So when we get that straight and we start to understand that everything starts from within, now we can fall all the way in love with self and really dive in to self for real. Man, shout out to Miss Blue, man. This is a powerful build.
Shout out to you. Shout out to you, Dreamwise, and
yes,
shout out to you, D-Ray, and just the work that y'all are doing as well in the family. It's beautiful. I thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for you inviting me to come on to do this. So
yes, and shout out to the whole Chaos family, all of y'all out there listening.
Oh yeah.
Make sure y'all go follow Miss Blue. All her links will be in the description. Go follow the great mother, man. I cannot make it up. When you see light, you just know, hey, you got to go and do it and reach out. So, these classes might fill up. So I know, hey, Miss Blue, we we
Yeah,
we're not gonna text you. We're gonna call you. Hey,
No, that's why I'm telling Miss Blue
yeah, we telling
again.
her right. We already
I'm
telling
telling you
her
again, Miss Blue.
because I'm a
I'm in the
learner, so I soak
priestesshood.
up
yes,
everything.
I did get your email, and yes, as we get
I'm
closer to that
ready.
time, I
Uh,
definitely,
uh,
for all of those who are hearing the calling, I definitely, I'm truly honored. I am grateful. I'm grateful for you guys, and I'm
And
grateful
here's
for
a
the
part of why, Miss Blue. I'm telling you, you say stuff that I last night. You said, "Grab your water, Miss Blue." I never bring a whole cup of ice water to bed. I never do that. But right when you said it, I was drinking water. Dream was like, "For real?" I was like, "I'm telling you, Miss Blue is just like
yeah, that was
one
crazy.
of my
That was
people.
crazy.
Listen, real recognized real, right? Like
Real,
that frequency.
recognize real."
Yes.
Yeah,
So I love it. I really do, and
I'm
I'm
like, yeah, yeah,
forever
Miss Blue is where
grateful.
it's at.
Yeah,
Yeah. And we
forever.
appreciate you. We appreciate you because I'm telling you, you are helping. And you already know this, and you already said we don't got to keep giving you your flowers, but you are truly helping so many people. And I love what you said on one of the shows. You said, after somebody comes to you, they shouldn't be calling back. They need
That's
to leave
oh
that
no.
space for somebody else
That's
because
right.
the information that you give is so much that needs to be decoded and worked through. You know what I mean? You got to take your time with that information. I called one time, and the one time I called, I got on, and you gave me some information that I'm still working through every day and
I love
realizing
it.
and recognizing.
I love it. And that
So,
that is the point. Yeah, for me,
mhm,
spirit told me it's I never, and I'll just say this, I don't want to I can be long-winded. Y'all know that. But you know how I didn't know that people would go and get readings like every week. I didn't know there was such a thing. I because I didn't know that. Um, and Spirit told me very early on, they won't be able to do that with you. So I didn't know what that meant. I thought, well, maybe because, one or two people will come. I don't know. I didn't give any much thought to it until I realized that the waiting list would be so long that you can't come back. You can't come right back, even if you wanted to.
mm,
Even if you wanted to, you couldn't. Now, a lot of times, some of the same people come in and then they'll say, "Oh, that's the same thing you told me last time." It's not that I even remembered, it's because I'm reading your energy and I can tell you're in that same spot. The beautiful thing is, you're able to get the support, and that's the power of Planet Remix and listening to others when they share where they are. Like you said, D Ray, you're able to know, like, wow, that answered a question I had because we are a collective and collectives move together. Really, on Planet Remix, we say we are part of the subconscious society because we may have to do another show, but long time ago, I been got kicked out of the conscious community. But that's a whole nother other. But we're really more of the subconscious society. Your subconscious is what's running about 90% of what you do is being, sort of dictated and moved through the subconscious. But yeah, yeah. So
that's
I'm
good.
grateful.
That's good.
And I want to say happy Mother's Day to all of those divine mothers on the planet, you
Yes,
know,
yes.
that is doing the mothering out there on the planet. I think it is so special that we do take this time to honor our mothers and the mothers before our mothers and mothers of mothers, because that is a special position. That we're able to be blessed with on the planet, and it should be acknowledged. Sometimes we want to mold things down into one, and there is a part, but we have to realize that what makes us whole is everyone bringing their pieces of who they are, their uniqueness to the table. So, love out to all the mothers out there, doing their work. Sister D Ray, to
Yes.
you as well, sending you love as well, and all the mothers on the planet. Yeah.
Shout out to all the mothers out there, the great
All the mothers.
and appreciate y'all. Next Sunday it goes down as well. We doing this the whole month. Next Sunday we got Khadijah. Then we're gonna keep on running ride this thing with our set, and it's just gonna keep going and going.
What a pleasure, though.
On and on and on. We'll see y'all next Sunday. Peace to the guys.
Peace, fam.